Hey, what's going on everyone? We have my buddy's PC here, or what will be his PC. All the components are spread out across the room. It's pretty messy in here right now, but he's never owned a PC with enough horsepower to, game some modern AAA titles at like 1440p or 4K. So I think we've got enough horsepower here now. We're gonna assemble everything and see how he likes it at the end of the day. So let's get started. All right, so use case scenario for Stevo. This is going to be his system. He told me he wants to be able to game on the system without any problems at all, and he wants to be able to run programs like SolidWorks. So I think the i7-5820K is going to suit him very well. Now, we do have 16 gigs of RAM here. These are Hall of Fame DDR4 modules from Galax. If he wants another two, he can go out and buy another two. It's expandable, and it looks kind of weird only having two modules in an 8-slot board. But if it bothers him that much, he can get more RAM later. I only have two of these on hand at the moment. So definitely a black and white theme going on with this board from ASRock, and we're going to carry that over to the cooler as well. So the case I'm going to build his system in is the Li & Li PC-011 Air. Now I know it's not the most air-friendly case, especially in the context of the front panel, but we're going to have air pulled in from the right side of the case, similar to how the Dynamic does it, and it's pretty good given the circumstances there. So we're going to have a 240mm AIO from Deepcool mounted behind that fan rad bracket, if you will, and then we're going to put some white and black fans up front to cover up that radiator so it looks like the rad spans the entire height of the case. Then we're going to install this thing. It's a 1TB SSD from Accelerate, basically a PNY gaming spin-off division. So this should be plenty of storage for the games that he has in his Steam library and any important files in SolidWorks and other programs he might use while in school. This was his card of choice, the 1070 Ti from Zotac. It's the Amp Extreme Edition. He asked me, what the best card would be for like 1440p gaming, high to very high settings. The 1070 Ti is right up that alley. It's also 4K capable, but it's more suited to the beautiful in-game settings in the 1440p resolution. Obviously, if you bump to 4K, you get a drop in game settings, and then all you're doing is enhancing the resolution for a lower quality image overall. So I don't really understand that. So the 1070 Ti is perfect for 1440p, and he asked what variant of the 1070 Ti to recommend him. I said the Zotac card. I said really any card that has two 8-pin supplemental power connectors, because he'll be able to overclock. So if he wants to overclock more than it's already going to be overclocked out of the box, he can certainly do that with this card because this one is a beast. All right, so I'm here with my dude Steve-O. He is currently at Florida State University, just moved into his new apartment, and he's waiting for the PC that we built him to fill up that space there on his desk. He's got his phone there now, and I felt kind of bad because it was bare. He's waiting on me, and he's been patient because I've been trying to source some parts for this. And actually, he doesn't know that basically the entire plan I had for his system has totally changed. I didn't tell him this. Yes, he's so we were talking about maybe like an orange or yellow themed build, right? Because you had a yellow backplate with that Zotac 1070 Ti Extreme.
Right.
So the whole idea behind getting that to match everything else was based on the card being oriented horizontally, right? So you could actually see the backplate. But the way that we talked about doing it, where we turn the card vertically, which is okay in this case, it's going to get enough airflow because it's pushed far back enough against the motherboard. The way we've done it, you can't see the backplate, you can't see the yellow. So that whole card just looks like a dark gray kind of carbon fiber, and the LEDs, of course, you can change to whatever you want. But I sent him the pictures. The color scheme is totally different. So instead of yellow and orange, basically, I changed it to blue. I don't know how you feel about blue. Look at his face.
My favorite color.
I don't know how you feel about blue, but I think you're going to be impressed with it. So go ahead and open up the email and start with that first picture, and you let me know what you think.
All right, let's see what it is. Oh my gosh. Dude.
That's a good reaction? Yeah?
That is yellow. Holy cow.
So that is blue. Those custom sleeve cables there from my buddy Tony. He made those actually for one of my first custom loop builds ever, Blue Sky. Those are the same cables from that system, and I haven't used them since then, so I figured throw them in your build. Makes the build look so much better, in my opinion, having custom cables. So I'm gonna hate to see them go, but they look really good in your system. That's just a little token from me to you for helping me out and sourcing the parts, because it's difficult to get all this stuff together. The whole platform changed. That's the other thing I wanted to tell you. So that motherboard, yeah. so that motherboard is an X99 motherboard, which means that you're on the Intel platform. So it's an i7 5820K. So you still have 6 cores, you still have 12 threads like we were talking. Remember, we were going to do the Ryzen 5 2600. In this case, you're going to probably be able to squeak out a slightly higher overclock. Just frequency-wise, you're going to get about 4.4, 4.5-ish gigahertz with this cooler and this CPU, if you feel like going that high. So a little higher than you would get with the 2600, maybe slightly better performance in games. It's really going to depend. And then, of course, your Zotac Amp Extreme 1070 Ti sitting in that vertical graphics card mount. The case is from Lee & Lee. It's a PCO11 Air. Now, it's not known for the best airflow with respect to the front of the case, so I put all the fans on the back side. So you're going to basically be pushing air out from the inside of the case. If you notice that your graphics card gets a little hot because we're actually pulling air from the graphics card, then you can just flip those fans backwards. But I think it's going to be okay the way you have it. Your card's pretty beefy, and it should be able to pull sufficient air in through the back or through the front, either way. So anyway, I've been talking a lot, but just tell me, I guess, I know you're just looking at pictures here, but what you like about it, maybe what you want to see changed. I can still work on this. Of course, I have it here. So until you come and pick it up or whatever, we can fix stuff. So whatever you want, man. You're the client. Tell me what you think.
So I know we were going to go with yellow off the bat because the card was yellow, or had hints of yellow in it. But dude, you hit it on the point, man. I don't know if it could go any better. I'm trying to figure out if you went to the future, got a beast computer, brought it back in time, and you're like, here you go, Steven. So, Greg, not only do you have an awesome YouTube channel, but I think you've also harnessed the power of time travel, my friend.
Well, it's funny you say that about time travel, because it's not a brand new system from a CPU perspective, right? Because it's not the newest gen CPU you could buy, right? So I think the equivalent 6-core 12-thread now, you could just say 8700K from Intel, even though it's not an X chipset CPU. It's still a comparable CPU from a core and thread perspective. But again, this just shows you how solid older hardware is. And in the event you ever want to upgrade, just a motherboard CPU swap is all you need, because you have DDR4 in the system, and DDR4 is going to be good for the next 2 or 3 generations, we expect.
Dude, I mean, just the aesthetic looks of it alone, it is just beautiful. And then on top of that, like this is gonna do everything I need it to for gaming, engineering programs. Man, you hit it on the money, bro.
It will do. It'll do that for sure. Like, yeah, that's what I want to make sure, that you had enough CPU horsepower. That's usually what people tend to overlook. They just throw a beefy graphics card in there, especially when they're on a budget, relatively speaking. But you got the best of both worlds, honestly. 6 cores is perfectly viable in 2018, and then a 1070 Ti is a great card. Even though the newer stuff's coming out, you get really good deals on these cards now. So I don't fault you at all for buying that at this point in time.
I mean, I can't wait to try this thing out, man. I can tell you that. Like, this thing is gonna. Oh.
It's a beast, man. It's a beast. You got that 1 terabyte hard drive, so all your games and all that are gonna load super snappy, including your operating system. We're gonna load up Windows 10 Pro for you, and you're gonna be good to go. It's tempered glass, by the way, on the left side, so it's nice and sleek. It's not gonna scratch very easily. And then, of course, you can again color coordinate, right? So if you want to switch all the colors of the RGBs. Maybe you want to go for like a purple theme or something else that doesn't look too bad against blue colors in the cables, then you can do that. So you have that flexibility. Hopefully it treats you well. I think it will.
It is, man. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. I've always been talking about wanting to build a custom PC, but then when I was like, oh man, I know Greg can just hit a grand slam with this. I was like, Greg, man, I need a PC. Can you help me?
But I should tell you guys, y'all are watching, that Steve and I go back to high school, middle school, actually earlier than that, because we played baseball together growing up.
Yeah, dude, I knew you wouldn't let me down, Greg. You were one to always be, in a way, like a perfectionist in a good way. Like I know you spent so much time, like, oh man, and like just to reconfigure and rework the whole system compared to what we talked about in the beginning. Like, I was a little scared at first, but then I was like, wait a second, this is Greg building it. Dude, slap the logo on it and send it to me.
Oh, you want one of the Science Studio logos?
Yes, I do.
All right, I got one for you. I'll stick it on there. All right, man, I appreciate it. Thanks everybody else for watching, and we'll catch you in the next video. This is Science Studio. Thanks for building with us.